Good afternoon, Kobra.
Hello.
So we're here with Kobra Paige from Kobra and the Lotus.
Hi.
And we are in Toronto for the show tonight in support of Xandria, and more importantly, touring in support of the just released new album, Prevail 1.
Oh yeah.
So how exciting is that?
It's extremely exciting. I mean, I feel like we've waited so long to release new stuff. And finally the moment came last night where we played our first show where the album was officially out in the world for everybody. And we've been playing some new tracks already in the set list.
Cool.
Just testing the water a little bit. It's been really, really fun, and it seems to have been going over better than actually any of our releases before. So I'm feeling very positive about it, and just especially grateful for the support.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys have been sort of dripping tracks from that as far back as September, I believe, right?
Yeah, September 9th.
Right. Trigger Pulse, I think, was the first one you guys dropped.
You got it.
And then Gotham. And then
Yeah.
You Don't Know came out most recently in advance of the album. So cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I got my Pledge Music copy a couple days ago. So
Thank you.
It came 2 days early. I was really excited.
Oh,
So-
some people are going to be mad.
Uh-oh.
There's some people that haven't received their stuff yet, but we just don't know what happens when it goes into the postal service. You know, it's like a kind of a mixed bag.
It's addressed from the label, not from you guys. So, it's on them, right?
Amen. Yeah.
There you go. Cool. But they did a good job getting them out there, and I'm sure if anybody didn't have it by release, they got it today. So
Yeah,
cool.
I sure hope so.
But that said, great album.
Thank you.
Really excited to see just how much of that's going to work into the set, and I usually tend not to spoil myself in advance of a show.
Okay.
But how many tracks are you looking for? You don't have to tell me which ones.
We're like playing about half the set of new material.
Cool.
So it's going to be a little mix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. So let's talk about this one a little bit. I mean, this album, you guys were pretty public about the making of it. In doing so, you had the Pledge Music campaign. So, people that chose to take part in that got to see snippets of it along the way, which is really a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
How's that experience for you guys?
The Pledge experience itself was really special. For that reason, it just really was an opportunity to see who believed in the band and how many people believed in the band. We had officially 619 pledgers, which was wonderful, and that was really incredible. But the only thing about the pledge thing was once we fulfilled all the items and everything, it kind of like backfired a little bit.
Yeah.
So it didn't really fund the album in the end.
Gotcha.
Which was what the purpose of it initially was for, was to help, you have a lucrative way to go into the studio and lay it down. So I'm not sure if I will do it again in the future just for that specific reason, but as far as the experience went with all the people that support us, that was incredible and worth every part of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed pretty interactive along the way.
Yeah. Well, it's inspiring. I mean, I would even go as far as saying it inspired some of the passion behind the music that's on that album too.
Yeah. Nice. I get a lot of that actually well, actually, I want to hear more of this from you than my interpretation, but a lot of this album, including the title, to me really is a statement, especially going back. The last time I got a chance to see you guys, you just released High Priestess, and then you were touring with Kiss and Def Leppard.
Yeah. I
caught you on a headline date, on an off date there. And then shortly after that, unfortunately, you guys had to kind of pull off the road a little bit.
Yeah.
So you sort of had to rebuild.
Yeah, it's always scary to pull yourself off the road. But, we probably wouldn't have had the same album, the same anything right now. Everything happens some mysteriously right way in the end,
No
so,
question. No question. So let's talk about that a little bit. There's some new sounds on the album, not like crazy new, but new enough in a way that it sounds like the band has matured a lot.
Yeah.
In addition to a lot of the tunes, like, and you're seeing this now, you've really had some success with radio. And I see you guys posting it too when, a station's picking it up and everything like that, which is really cool to get behind. A lot of music, at least I find in this genre, has a hard time reaching radio, and so here we are, you're breaking through right now. Talk about that.
Sure. Do you want to go through?
I may.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's been absolutely humbling to have our music on active rock radio, because we've been on serious liquid metal and stuff like that, but to be played on a station where people are driving around going to work and stuff, that kind of just, I don't know, I can't wrap my head around it. I feel so grateful for it. I didn't think that we would be part of music that would be palatable for that many people. So it's been a brand new thing for us to experience, and it feels really like a big deal. I'm just like, holy crap, you know?
Sure.
I heard our song being played on the radio, and I felt like I had like 7 espresso shots. I was like, oh my god, this is just, to me, it was just crazy to hear it broadcast that way. So it's been wonderful, and it's good too because it's brought exposure to a whole other part of the music industry where people like heavier stuff, but maybe they would have never found us if we didn't have that hard rock vein.
Yep, no question. And, you know, and it's funny because you're on this tour right now with Sandria, which I think makes for a great bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I certainly wouldn't compare or contrast the two bands as something that you'd necessarily dive into at the same time, right?
No, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Once Human and Xandria and us are all very different from each other, but it's really cool because it's like 3 powerhouse bands of different representations of the genre. Yep. Which I love. I love that.
Absolutely. Very good. You're good. Cool. So we kicked off the tour last week? Or was it the beginning of it was the beginning of this week?
Yeah.
It was like Monday,
kicked it off
right?
on Tuesday.
Tuesday in New York?
Evening. Yep.
Cool.
That's right.
So we don't have a whole lot of road behind you so far, but tell us about it.
It's been awesome. We started at Webster Hall in New York City, and it was a bit of a gong show getting it all together before the show, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
And it was awesome to just be on stage again and see who showed up. And
cool.
Really, really great tour so far.
And then quickly up to Canada.
Yeah, all the way to Quebec, then Montreal last night, and now we're in Toronto, last Canadian date, unfortunately. But it's just been amazing, and we can also see that the album has already been something that's more responsive for people because we're seeing more new faces at the shows we've never seen before.
That's cool.
Very, very wonderful. Cool. Yeah.
That's another, to me, I think that's another advantage of having bands that sort of draw on different fan bases too. Is it gets? I think metal fans tend to be pretty open, within their world at least. You know what I mean? So something a little more symphonic, something a little hard or whatever, throw it in there. It's fun, and people follow you, right? People tend to be supportive.
It's really wicked because there's so many people that are coming for all 3 bands on this tour, and they're walking away with new music to listen to from the other groups and from us or whatever, and that's also why I think the diversity is super cool.
Yeah. No doubt. So let's talk about the creation of this album a little bit, right? Mostly in terms of how was it different than High Priestess. And everything before, really. But this was the second album with the full core of your band, right, together.
Totally, which is unique. And I think it did make an impact actually, because everyone really put everything they had into it, and then they want to tour it. We want to tour it, and we want to, work it to the fullest because we worked so hard at it with each other. Which is just amazing. And the difference between High Priestess and this one is, well, it's quite a few things actually. I would say overall the sound has just grown and matured quite a bit. It's more thoughtful music in terms of the little details. It's funny because with the more hard rock songs on this album, we've seen, people will call it simple sometimes. And what's so funny about it is that those are so much tougher for us to write than a straight up heavy metal song that we've been writing forever. Like High Priestess, that stuff is very easy for us to write now. It's like a muscle that we've been using for so long.
Sure.
And the other stuff, it was challenging at first to figure out where we were taking the evolution, and we wanted everything to also be very clear in the mix. So when introducing all the layers of sounds, it was really important to have another level of also just mix with everything. And there's more dynamics, musically and vocally. Lyrically, it's the most vulnerable and truthful. It's just really honest music, I would say. And everything is complementing each other.
Cool.
So thoughtful music, I would say.
Nice. In terms of how rich it is too, it's neat to hear you say that, because that was actually one of the first things I noticed listening to it. Is there's a lot more, like, you know, some songs you can listen to, and you know, you listen to them 20, 30, 50 times, and all of a sudden you're hearing more that you haven't heard before.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's definitely present on this album so far.
Thank
you know,
you.
I won't say I've gotten to 50 yet. I definitely haven't. But,
No,
you know,
okay.
I've listened to especially some of the tracks that have been out for a while,
Yeah.
you know, over and over quite a few times. And there's a lot more to it. You know, it's a
Yes.
richer sound, and I think it's pretty cool. So you're right. You
Thank
know?
you.
So you want to tour it.
Yeah.
You are touring it. We're touring it and playing tonight.
Exactly.
What big plans do we have down the road, though? You know, as far as you can say, at least.
Well, for now, we're going to do this tour,
Yep.
and we're going to go down into the States after this, so Cleveland tomorrow, actually, and
Cool.
then we're going down the west side of the States.
Yep.
So we have a lot of states in Canada still to come back and cover. We're working on that right now. We just haven't announced anything. The summer, we've just got some festivals in
Yep.
Europe. In between the festivals, we will be doing the music videos and the photos for Prevail 2.
Cool.
Because I don't know if everyone knows this, but it was a body of work that was written and mixed and made all at the same time. There was not even an order chosen for the albums. So that album has been ready as it was supposed to come out all at once in one piece. But Napalm suggested the split, which I think was very smart, because it's a ton of material.
Sure.
You know? And every song is different from the next.
Yeah.
So, we're going to prepare all the rest of the stuff for Prevail 2, so that when that comes around, which will be fairly soon, it's going to seem soon for people, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice because you're really building a lot of momentum off of Prevail
Yeah.
1 right now, right? So that you're getting to people that haven't heard you, haven't seen you before. And so when the second one drops, right?
Yeah.
You would think naturally that your base is certainly going to be bigger for that.
It's going to we've got kind of a wall of just stuff that we're going to keep releasing.
Cool.
So we've got several music videos for Prevail 1 to still be coming out. And then Prevail 2, it starts all over again.
Right.
You know? It's like,
I think that's going to be huge. You know, I mean, well, I say that because, you know, you guys are obviously busy, very hardworking, and so much of that's been behind the scenes for the last year and change.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So now you get to actually bring it to people. And
yeah, it's crazy because so many people, you know, they are just discovering us.
Yeah.
And this happens for most bands I know.
Yeah.
It takes like 10 years
Sure.
for you to reach a point where people are like, oh,
Yeah.
I know that band, or I've heard of that band.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work and a long time.
that's why it's such a big deal to say that, oh, I saw them back when, because
Yeah.
you had to discover that on your own,
It's a
right?
minority that has seen those people during their growth.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Which makes it cool and special, but obviously,
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, this is also a job, right?
It is. I mean, we're fully committed to it 100%, and it's not an easy path to choose, but if you're passionate about it, that's what you do. And so there is some happiness that I think that we're lucky to have, you know, despite other challenges. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, that's exciting. So I know you guys have an acoustic set coming up momentarily
Yeah.
here. So
That's part of the pledge.
probably, yes,
So-
exactly right. So here we are. So cool. Well, we'll sign off for now then, and we'll catch up inside. Want to say hi, Brad?
Hello to all you beautiful rock and metal heads out there around the world. Thank you for your support and your love.
And tune into Brad's podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
www.sonsofthunderpodcast.ca for all the intimate interviews with all the rock stars you love.
Now he's perma podcast.
Nice. Nice. Cool. All right.